very welcome back to Saturday Chronicle here on Scariff Bay Community Radio. Well, I suppose the time of festivals is upon us now. We're in the festival season with the Tulla next week, the Tulla Musical Festival, and the Scariff Harbour Festival the week after. But it's the week after that we're looking at the moment, and we're looking at the Feakle Festival. And delighted to welcome back again to the studio the Secretary of the Festival Committee, and that's Aoife Hayes. Aoife, you're very welcome.
Thanks, Jim, so much for having me. I was thinking on the way down, I was like, God, I can't believe it's a year since I was here, and we are promoting our 36th Feakle Festival, which is just 36 years, which is quite frightening in a way, how long the festival has been going, and I can't believe that I think going into my 11th year being involved in the festival. I started very young, as a young teenager, got roped into working in the...
It's easier to get roped in than escape.
Yes, that's it. There's no getting out of it now. I started working in the festival office, and then I got involved with the Friends of Feakle, and in the last 2 years I've got roped into being secretary for the festival, so I love it.
How demanding is the role of secretary?
Demanding enough.
Demanding enough.
Yeah.
When do you start preparing for, let us say,
Yeah.
next year's festival?
Yeah, so I'd say
This
this year we started probably back in January. We had a subcommittee meeting where we put all together the layout of the festival, the acts, the concerts, the bookings and all that. So we started that back in January, in the cold, wet evenings and peppers, and every week we met, maybe every 2 weeks we'd meet, or most of the time it was nearly every week, to keep on top of it and things like that.
What would be happening at these?
Well, there was 4 of us, and we sat down and we'd be planning who we wanted for this year's festival, trying to put acts together, what we want to and what we anticipated for this year's festival. Like last year, we shortened our festival because it was our first year back after COVID, and we were competing with the Feakle, and we weren't sure what impact that would take on the festival, but we came out with a great successful festival, and we had a tremendous success for it, and we had people actually surprisingly leaving the flat to come down to Feakle because the flat's a great festival, I must put that out there, but very different to Feakle, and people came down and it was a lot more quieter, and they were able to listen, get in the door of pubs. But so this year we have gone back to our full flight of 6 days of a festival, and we've extended. We are starting on a Wednesday and continuing until the Monday. So I suppose back in January we were just putting it together, booking acts and things like that, so that takes time, and now the whole committee is together and we're all taking on our little bits and just putting it all together.
What about accommodation? I hear that can be
it is
a challenge.
It is challenging, and unfortunately I suppose we constantly get emails asking, where can I stay? And of course, if I was going to a festival, I'd love to be in the heart of it. When I went up to Willie Clancy, I wanted to be in Milltown, but you had to stay in Lahinch. So it is providing more challenging for people to get accommodation around, unfortunately, and we do appeal to people, if they had a bed or anything like that, to put it on offer, obviously, for the few days, because a lot of people will end up travelling from Ennis or Killaloe or Gort or further afield, because unfortunately it isn't there, and that's what you have to deal with, I suppose.
Aoife,
yes,
when I hear the name Aoife, I immediately associate it with Hayes. And once I hear the name Hayes,
yes.
I associate that with tradition. You grew up in a household belonging to the traditional world, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Are you conscious of that?
Oh God, yeah. I am, and I'm, I suppose, very proud of it. I try to be as humble about it as possible, because that's the type of person I am. But I am very proud to have grown up in the family I have, and I suppose my friends never quite get it. They don't understand why the festival and music means so much to me. I remember when I was in college, my friends would be like, "Oh, we'll go off on a J1," and I'm like, I can't leave Feakle for the festival, and they're like, "But it's just a festival, Aoife." I'm like, "But no, it means so much more to me." than just a festival from like that, growing up in it. And I remember when we were younger, myself and my sister in particular, she'll kill me for saying this now, but we, on the Sunday night of the festival, the Tulla band would always be playing. And in fairness to my father now, he did his best to keep us in Feakle and at the events as long as we could. But when it comes to the Sunday night, there would be tears in our house because 10 o'clock would be approaching and we'd want to go down to the Cayley. But obviously because we were small at the time and too young to be in the pub, there'd be tears and tears and tears. But it just, now we're at the stage where we don't want to actually leave the festival at all. Like when I'm down there for the week and I just come home to sleep and that's it.
Of course, we should explain to our listeners, Aoife, that you're not just Aoife Hayes, but you're a daughter of Pat.
I am.
And a niece of Martin.
I am.
And a granddaughter of Peach.
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
I remember playing the actual mouth organ with your grandfather.
Oh, wow.
In Raheen one.
Oh, very good.
I don't know how I got roped into it. Yeah.
Listen, talk to us about this year's festival then.
Yeah, so we're commencing.
That'll be the 9th to the 14th.
9th to the 14th. So Wednesday the 9th, we're starting off with a opening in the community centre at 7:30. And I suppose how I'll describe it is the Concertina Orchestra, the the Concertina Orchestra. It's a group of young concertina players put together by 4 mentors from County Clare. And I suppose I better give the plug of Music Generation it comes from Music Generation, and Music Generation are a fantastic group where they put music in all sorts of genres and everything like that, and they put groups together. So the the Concertina Orchestra are going to be opening and put on a concert at 7:30 in the community hall, and that is free, and there'll be wine and food on reception, and it's always a lovely night and fairness to see the festival opening. So that'll be opening on Wednesday the 9th of August. And then I suppose the ball gets rolling then on Thursday morning with workshops, and workshops are always busy with people, and they are on Thursday, Friday and Saturday mornings from 10 o'clock to 1 p.m. I'll just go quickly through the lineup for the workshops. So on fiddle we have Martin Hayes, Circa Costello, Eileen O'Brien. Concertina with Mary McNamara and Brian Donlan. Flute with Geraldine McNamara. Accordion with Conor Connolly. Tim Whistle with Gerard McNamara. Banjo with Pádraig McDonagh. Singing with Micheál Martin, and Shadows dancing with Suzanne Leahy. Now, I would advise people, and it's always a lot handier, I suppose, these days to book things in advance, and at least you have your bookings and everything. So you could book your register through for your workshops through our website. There's a link, or through the Glore box office. And then the day commences. Then after the workshops, we have a good few CD launches this year. We start with there's a CD launch with Edel Vaughan from Crusheen, and she's a beautiful singer. She's launching her new CD, Chapter 22, in Maloney's Pub at 4 p.m. And before that, actually, we have a festival walk, which is always really nice. And usually somebody local brings you around a local route around the village, or around the outskirts of the village, and give a historical perspective to events and things that have happened in the area. So that's always a lovely little token to people as well, to learn about the history of Feakle as well. And then on Thursday night we have our first lineup of concerts, and that's in Pepper's Marquee at 7:30. We have Randall Bays and Frank Kilkelly, Danny O'Mahony and Micheál O'Rahillig, Edel Vaughan, East West Fiddles, which is Manus Maguire's new group, and they're also will be launching a CD as well during the festival. And then we have Cormac Begley and Liam O'Connor. Now, I will stress this bit because I was looking at ticket sales the other day, and there's only a very limited amount of tickets left for the Thursday night concert, as I suppose it's in Pepper's Marquee, so it is a limited capacity of people.
Where will they get it?
Glore. Glore box office. You can go online and search it through Glore, or if you go onto our website, there's a direct, you'll see straight away tickets, and it brings you straight to the Glore box office. So I would stress that if anyone is thinking about it, because it will sell very fast.
If I'm anxious to improve my non-skill at the fiddle,
yes,
I don't play.
I know, yeah.
But supposing I was able to play a little bit,
yeah.
Could I sign in for any particular class?
Well, what we do, as we have 3 tutors, what we tend to do is try and rotate them over the 3 days. So say if you had Circa on Thursday, then you'd have Eileen on Friday and then Martin on Saturday. But then if you're only coming for 1 day and you want to go to Martin's or Circa's or Eileen's class, you could sneak in there, we let you in. But it's up to yourself really, like, because if you wanted to upskill your skills, let's say, or you just wanted to sit in and listen to a few tunes or whatever, it depends what you're looking for really. We do say that you I suppose should have a slight degree of competency, that you should be able to hold a note or play.
Not a complete beginner.
Not a complete beginner.
How much will it cost me?
It will cost you €25 per day, or I better double check that now that I'm not giving the wrong information. €60 for 3 days then. So €25.
When do I pay that?
You can pay it online in advance through the Glore box office or festival website, which is www.feaklefestival.ie, or on the venue on the day you can go to the school and register there, and then on the morning.
On the school?
Yeah. Or it depends where the venue is.
Yeah.
We'll have a list of that in the coming weeks. So then if I go on to Friday, we have our workshops again in the morning, and then the lunchtime concert, which is always a special treat because it's €10 on the door, and you get all the tutors that are in the set or in the workshops, and they perform for about an hour and a half, and it is always a beautiful little concert. And then following that at 4 p.m. we have East West Fiddles, which is Manus Maguire, Marika and Junji, which they're from Japan, and Gary O'Brien. And Manus Maguire has put this group together, and they're fantastic, and I actually can't wait to hear them. So they're launching their CD in Shorts Pub at 4 p.m. And then on to our Friday night recital, which is always a great show in fairness. We have Rick Epping, Shamie O'Dowd and Ruth Clinton, and then we have Martin Hayes and 2 of his fellow members of his new group, the Common Ground Ensemble, Brian Donlan, who is a multi-instrumentist who plays the harmonium, concertina and bouzouki, and then we have Cormac McCarthy on piano, and they'll be joined by percussionist Jimmy Higgins. So tickets for that are €30, but there is a slight deal like nobody really knows about yet, but so let's say if you were going to buy a ticket for Friday night and Saturday night, they're €30 each, but if you decide to go Friday and Saturday night, so it's €50, so you're getting a discount of €10, so that's a nice little incentive there.
Indeed, yeah.
And then on Friday night we have a late night concert and CD launch with Circa Costello, who is a fantastic fiddle player, and she's launching her new CD Primrose Lass in Peppers. It's a €10 charge on the door, and that's at 10 p.m. So that's Friday. Yes. And then on to Saturday. It's a very, very busy day on Saturday. There's a lot happening, and there's a lot of things happening for everyone, which is great. Our workshops again in the morning. And then something different that we're taking this year is the pop-up Gaeltacht. We said it'd be nice to immerse people in our Gaelga and give an opportunity for people to even just listen to it, even if you just have a couple of focal. It's a chance for people just to listen to the Irish language, or just even like there'll be a mixture of English and Irish, and it'd be a chance for people just to engage in a small little conversation with each other, or just listen to the language. So that's on in Maloney's at 2 p.m. and it's free of charge. And then following that, we have Macdara O'Quinella is hosting the pop-up Gaeltacht. He's going to be hosting our singing session, so he's going to be the Pharaoh Tea, and that'll be on at 3 p.m. in Maloney's, and he'll be joined by Sarah Grealish and Tomás McCarthy. He's a fantastic singer. He won a Gradam Ceol there a couple of years ago. Micheál Marin and Mary Noonan as well, and that's on at 3 p.m. So that's in Maloney's pub, but if I just track back a small bit, we have another CD launch in Peppers with Pádraig McDonagh, Pádraig Kane and Macdara O'Fuailán at 2 p.m. In Peppers. And then at 3 p.m. in the community hall, we have a very special screening of Dennis Cahill, Litter O' the Cara. I suppose we lost a great friend of our family and festival, Dennis, last year, so there was a beautiful tribute of a film put together for him from messages from his dear friends, and we'll be screening that at 3 p.m. in the community hall. It is free, but it is a beautiful tribute to a beautiful person and musician. So I would, if you haven't seen it, I would advise you to go and see it, because it is just a beautiful little film. And then we have another CD launch at 4:30 in Shorts Pub, and that is with Randall Bays. Randall Bays was actually a good friend of my grandfather's and my Uncle Martin, and he's going to be launching his CD Up the West at 4 p.m. or 4:30, sorry, in Shorts. And then I suppose this concert wasn't really planned, and I think when we were planning, or last year, we wouldn't have thought we would be having this concert or this tribute concert to such a legendary musician that we unfortunately lost last January, and that is the great Seamus Begley. So we felt it was very, I suppose, important to us that we give a tribute to Seamus, because Seamus was with us last year in Feakle. And I remember after coming out of the Ceilidh afterwards, Seamus was upstanding, singing songs, and was just having so much fun and was full of life. And he was there most years, and I always remember the crack was had when Seamus would arrive in his van. And I remember my dad telling me, there's lots of stories, and some stories I can't repeat on air. But one story, one year he was going performing, a good few years ago now, he was going performing, and he was out having he liked his can of cider or his bottle of cider, and he was out drinking it, and didn't, before he went on to go on stage, and didn't he take one gulp of the cider, and wasn't there a wasp inside in it?
Wasp?
A wasp. He swallowed a wasp just before he was about to go on stage. So there was absolute panic what was going to happen.
What does one do?
Well, thankfully there was a doctor. I think there was big panic, and I don't know, they had to go up through the hall or something before he went on, when they were asking, is there a doctor, is there a doctor? I could be wrong on my facts here now, but he was fine. He survived it.
Yes.
And he went on stage, and he made many a joke about it afterwards. So Seamus had a very special relationship with Feakle, and we felt it was very important to remember him this year. And it's a very special concert because it's very much influenced by a lot of his musical friends, and in particular his fellow friends and musicians from West Kerry. So we'll have Lumiere, which is our Eilish Kennedy, and Pauline Scanlon, who again were great friends of his. Muirna Yowlig and Donna Hennessy, who often performed with him. Conor Connolly, Andrea Pallandry, and Rory McGorman. And to make the night even more special, we will be joined by 3 of Seamus's children, Maeve, Owen and Neil Begley, and they'll be performing, and they're fantastic musicians. And to even top it off, we'll have the West Kerry set dancers, which as far as I know will include his other child, Brendan, and his wife, I think, as far as I know, will be dancing as well, a few sets. So then we'll have that concert, and we'll keep the Kerry night going. And before that, there will be a Ceilidh with the Star of Munster Ceilidh Band at 9:30, and that's in the community hall. But Polka 4, they're from West Kerry, and I can't wait for it. They're a lively bunch. Now, I won't say it's a concert as such, because you probably won't be sitting on your seats, I'd say. You'll be up dancing, and we're calling it Crack Agus Ciol, the Polka 4. So that'll be on in Pepper's Marquee at 10:30. So there'll be lots of polkas and slides and all sorts of dancing and craziness going on, I'm sure. So then on Sunday, we have our Afrin Gaelga with Noreen Noreen at 11 a.m. in St Mary's Church. And then we have a public interview with Eileen O'Brien. She'll be interviewed by Paula Carroll, and that's on at 12:30 in Maloney's Pub, and it's free of charge. And that will be, Eileen is a great character, a fantastic musician and singer, so I'm sure there'll be some funny stories told with that. And I suppose to keep things for everyone, we have random acts of puppetry, which is always a great laugh for children, and that'll be at 1:30 in the community hall. We'll have a singing session led by Thomas McCarthy at 2 p.m. in Maloney's. And then we have our gala outdoor concert in the Fairgreen, which will be with the Fiddle Case and Jerry and Feakle O'Connor and Jim Murray. So that'll be our last of the series of concerts. And to end Sunday night, we have the grand finale Ceilidh with the Tulla Ceilidh Band in Pepper's Marquee. And then on Monday, things start to wind down. There'll be informal sessions throughout the day, and we have our Riches of Clare concert, which is always, I love going to after all the tiredness and everything. It's a nice way to ease down off the weekend, and that'll be with Joan Hanron, Claire Cabell, Geraldine McNamara and Noel O'Grady. And the last of it then is an evening Cayley with Donnie Nolan and Taylor's Twist at 7 p.m. in Peppers Marquee.
My God.
That's it all.
I mean, where would Mickey Joe get the full programme?
The full programme is on our website. So
Your website.
So it's www.feaklefestival.ie. Our social media is a big way of promoting festivals this year. You can check out our festival, our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and that's Feakle Festival.
It's an extraordinary feast of tradition.
Thank you.
It
Thank
is
you.
really,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it now this year. I think this is the most I've been excited in a long time about a festival like it is.
And you as secretary had a huge hand to pack. I know you're not going to praise yourself.
No, I won't.
But we know from the Drama Festival, for example, the secretary ends up having a
huge amount of work to do.
Yeah.
So it's a marvellous. How many 4 days is it?
6 days.
6 days.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah.
As a matter of interest, here's the business side of it. Does it make a few bob?
It does. Kind of
does
balance.
It cover it?
It does. Yeah, it does. But there's an awful lot of cost that goes into planning or just organising a festival. There's a lot that you have to think about. You don't think about all these things until you sit down with the treasurer and see all the finance of your your income and your expenditure. It does cost a lot, but it does. We're lucky enough that we get funded by the grants of Clare County Council and Fáilte Ireland and other grants through the Arts Council and things like that. So we're lucky that those grants are out there, because without them, you might find it a bit more challenging. I can't. There's a committee of us, and each person plays their own role, and they know their own role. And without them, the festival wouldn't be where it is. And even without our volunteers and people that aren't necessarily on the committee that come out during the weekend or the week, and they're cutting the field for the campsite, or whether they're tidying up the village and things like that. So there's a lot of people, our publicans, our shop owners, everything. It's a community that come together, and it's really important that everyone is thanked for their hard work and dedication to the festival over the 36 years.
Okay. Aoife, you have promoted it extremely well. We can't wait to get going. Certainly we enjoyed it from the radio point of view last year. We had a great time, and we'll see you again up there.
Jim. Thank you.
So Aoife Hayes, Secretary of Feakle Festival, many thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
And good luck with the
Thanks,
festival.
Jim. Thanks, John, as well. Thank you. Thank you.
Aoife.